So in the previous class we have seen the EMF equation of the transformer and few examples on the EMF equation solution. Okay. Today we will see the transformer on no load and what are the different types of losses those are present in the transformer. Okay. So actually in the syllabus they have mentioned directly the transformer on losses of transformer and variation of losses with respect to load. Okay. But in one or two question papers they have also asked for the calculation of no load current. Okay, by taking component currents of no load into the consideration. So that is a very small topic that we will see, so that if any example comes on that topic you should be able to solve on that. Okay. So first we will see transformer on no load. Okay. And then we will move to what are the different types of losses those are present in the transformer. Okay. Transformer on no load. Yeah, please mute yourselves, all of you. Otherwise your voice will come in the recording. Okay. The class recording, which will be a disturbance, so please mute. Yeah. So transformer on no load in the sense, see the circuit symbol of transformer is every time I will not draw the block of core and then I show the primary winding on one limb and secondary winding on the other limb. Whether the transformer is core type or shell type, okay, whether the transformer is service power transformer or distribution transformer, okay, the circuit symbol of transformer we will be using. So circuit symbol of transformer is this: one winding is shown as primary winding, second winding is shown as secondary winding. Okay. So I should be keeping these two windings near to each other. I cannot draw primary winding somewhere here and secondary winding somewhere here. Conceptually it will not become a transformer. These are two independent coils, that's it. Okay. And in between these two windings I will draw two parallel lines which indicates it is a core. If there are no parallel lines, it is non-core transformer or air core transformer, and we don't use air core transformer. Okay. So two windings, two coils, between two coils which are placed near to each other, two parallel lines is the circuit symbol of transformer. So this indicates primary, this indicates the secondary. Okay. Provided if I connect supply here and load here. Okay. If I connect supply here, it becomes primary, this becomes secondary. Okay. So I want to now study the transformer on no load condition. Okay. So transformer on no load, even though the transformer is on load or no load, I will be connecting the primary supply to the transformer. I will be connecting the primary supply to the transformer. So you see any transformer, the primary is always connected to the supply. So transformer will always get input power. Even if I don't connect any load here, if I don't connect any load, power transfer will not take place. But still there is some power drawn by the transformer even at no load. Okay, that we will be seeing. So let this be V1. This will be current I0. I0 is the no load current. And the EMF induced in primary is E1. Okay. EMF induced in primary is E1. EMF induced in secondary is E2. Okay. And the voltage across terminals is V2, which is equals to E2. Now the transformer is on no load. I am not connecting any load on the transformer. So the secondary side of the transformer becomes open circuit. Secondary side of the transformer will be an open circuit. Okay. Now when I connect primary voltage to the source, primary winding to the source. So let us take this vector represents the primary voltage V1, vector V1 represents the primary voltage, okay, of V1 volts. Now we have seen in the construction of the transformer that winding is made very highly inductive and very less resistive. The resistance of the winding is kept very low and the inductance of winding is kept very high. So this is a RL network or RL circuit. Primary is now RL circuit with large value of L and very least value of R. Therefore, the current I0 will be lagging behind V1 by an angle phi, no doubt, because it is inductive coil. Current I0 will be obviously lagging behind V1, but the lagging angle will be nearly 90 degrees because the coil is very highly inductive. Therefore, the lagging angle will be very nearly 90 degrees. If the coil is highly resistive, the lagging angle will be nearly 0 degrees. Okay? If I make this pure inductive, the lagging angle will be 90 degrees. But I cannot make the coil pure inductive because I don't get any coil material to have the 0 resistance. So therefore, small value of resistance is always present in the winding and large value of inductance is made in that winding. Hence, the current drawn by any coil in any electrical machine will be lagging behind its voltage by some angle. Okay, and that angle here is very nearly 90 degrees. So if this is 90 degrees axis with respect to V1, V1 I have not taken on positive x-axis because V1 is not my reference quantity. I don't take V1 as a reference quantity, okay, because V1 is not common for the entire transformer. For entire transformer, common is flux because flux is common for both primary as well as secondary. So on positive x-axis we get flux, okay. So V1, I0 is lagging behind V1, I0 is lagging behind V1 by an angle phi naught, and this phi naught is nearly 90 degrees, okay. Now I can represent this I0 vector into two components, okay. I will be taking the current vector I0 and resolving it into two components, okay. So one vector I will call it as Im and one vector or component I will call it as Iw, okay, Im and Iw. Now what is I0? I0 is no load current drawn in primary. Im is magnetizing component of no load current I0. Magnetizing component of no load current I0. Iw is loss component of no load current I0, okay, loss component of no load current I0. Now Im is magnetizing component of no load current, so Im or loss component is given by Iw. Iw is forming the base of the triangle, let this be O, A and B, okay. Iw is forming the base of the triangle OAB and BA is forming the opposite side, which is nothing but Im of the triangle OAB. So I can write Iw, okay, is equals to I0 cos phi naught, okay, and Im is equals to I0 sin phi naught, okay, I0 cos phi naught and I0 sin phi naught, okay. Now you can observe one component is I cos phi, other component is I sin phi. So what is the I cos phi component? We know that I cos phi component is always the working component of the current, that is loss component or power consumed. Now there is no power that is to be transferred from primary to secondary, but still transformer will receive some power, it will draw some power from the source even at no load. Why it will draw some power? Because there are some losses in the transformer. Okay, so there are some losses in the transformer because the transformer will consume some amount of power to make itself operating. So that amount of power what the transformer consume to operate itself is not transferred to secondary side. Hence, I assume or I consider that power consumption by the transformer itself as the power loss. Okay, so suppose I have 100 watts of power to be transferred from primary to secondary, and when I give 100 watts, the transformer will consume some 20 watts of power. It won't consume that large. It will consume, say, suppose 20 watts of power, and the power that is available at the output, work power, that is work done. Okay, work done, that is active power I am talking about. Total power will remain same. Okay, so when I connect the load, if the power available is 80 watts, what does it mean? Out of 100 watts given to the input, 20 watts of power is used by the transformer itself to keep itself operating. See, the concept of loss is that when I am very hungry, when a person is very hungry, he will eat some food. Okay? So, do you think that whatever the amount of energy he is taking into his body in the form of food, okay, if he does work after having food, do he expend all the energy that he has taken in the form of food? No, right? So out of the total energy what he has taken in the form of food, our own body will use some amount of that energy to make this body alive. Okay, it needs some energy input. Okay, so that energy is consumed by our body itself. That energy is consumed by our body itself. I don't do the work, or the work done by me will not be exactly equal to the energy received by me in the form of food. Okay, energy received can be in the form of food, non-food energies like motivation, whatever it may be. Let us take food. So we know that our body will utilize some amount of energy out of the food. Okay, that it will keep to, or it will use to keep this body alive, operating. So other part of the food will get converted into the energy or power, whether it is muscle power, whether it is brain power, whatever. And when I start working, okay, so the power what I have gained, or the energy what I have gained through food will be spent on doing the work. Until what how much time I will work? Until all my energy gained through food is consumed, or it is spent on work done, until I get hungry next time. So once I start getting hungry, again I have to eat food, or else once I start getting hungry and if I continue to work, I start feeling weak. Okay, so we have intelligent brain system within us, so it will push that hunger. Okay, let it be after half an hour, let me have the food and we will work. But you observe, when you are extremely hungry, you can't work, okay, to the exact level that you are working when your body is comfortable, when your body is full of energy. The same thing happens with any electrical machine also. If the system requirements of the machine are not satisfied, if it will not consume some energy or power from the source to keep itself operating, then it won't give output. Now for example, I have the resistance in the winding. Okay, I have resistance in the winding. We know that resistance will always create some I square R loss, power loss. Now suppose until and unless the primary winding resistance or the primary winding I square R loss are not met by the supply. Now I will connect the voltage or source to of such a value that the power delivered by the source is less than I square R losses, those will be there in this transformer winding. Then whatever power I am giving from the source to primary, it is completely consumed in winding itself. It won't be transferred to secondary. So when does the transformer start working for the required task? The task of transformer is to transmit power from one to other circuit. It can transfer power from one to other circuit only when all the losses in the transformer are satisfied. Okay? So now at the no load, current drawn by the transformer is I naught. Now whether you connect the load or you don't connect the load, current I naught is always drawn by the transformer. Now to give a very solid or very practical example, in our machines lab, when we conduct an experiment on transformers or no load, we have 2 kilovolt ampere transformers in our lab. The current rating, the full load current rating of those transformers is 8.6 amperes. Okay? If I keep the secondary side of that transformer open and I connect only primary to the source, the current drawn by primary is not zero, because primary is a closed path, it will draw some current. If you go through circuit analysis principle, some current has to be drawn here in this closed path. Now what is the amount of current drawn? The amount of current drawn is equal to I naught, and that is equals to 0.6 or 0.5 amperes. These are practical values I am telling. These are not assumed values. Okay, every semester we do experiments on the transformers. Okay, if time permits I will show in our, if the when the classes will be reopened, I will show if possible how even when on open circuit the current drawn by the transformer is having some value. So see, for a 8.6 ampere rating of the transformer, even when on no load, the current drawn by the transformer is around 0.5 to 0.6 amperes. Now what that 0.5 or 0.6 amperes current doing is the question. When the current is drawn by the source, it should do some work. When current drawn by any system, that system is giving some output or it is doing some work. Now what is the work done by this I naught? Okay, thus this I naught will serve two purposes. I naught will serve two purposes. That the iron loss of the transformer are taken care. Loss component, it is iron loss component or core loss, iron or core loss component of the no load current. So whatever the losses those are present in the core of the transformer are satisfied by this component of the current IW, then I have to create a flux in the transformer. Without creation of the flux in the core, there can't be linking of primary to secondary circuit magnetically. So it is the flux that is connecting primary circuit to secondary circuit magnetically. Now this component IM is magnetizing current which will create the flux. Now like I told in one of the previous fundamental class on electromagnetism, the flux created will be always in phase with the current, that current which is creating that flux. The flux created is always in phase with the current which is creating that flux. So the flux phi which is present in the transformer core is in phase with the magnetizing current. Because this component of current is creating flux, it is called magnetizing current. Because it is magnetizing the core, therefore it is called magnetizing current. And this component which is in phase with the voltage, see any component of the current which is in phase with the voltage is the component of current that is doing some work. Now what is the work done by this component of current which is in phase with the voltage? That it is creating power loss in the core, because unless that power loss is satisfied, the power will not transfer from primary to secondary. Okay, so I have to satisfy the losses also. So whatever the food I am eating, first part of the food should go to energize my body. Then remaining part of the food will go to give me more power to do the work. Okay. So whatever the food I eat, the complete energy gained by the food is not spent in the work done. Some body will store some power or some energy into it, so that it should be alive. So to operate this transformer, to keep the transformer operating, the transformer will consume some amount of power, because there are losses. There are losses in the transformer. That is the reason. Okay. And one thing what I can observe is, the flux produced by any voltage will lag behind that voltage by an angle 90 degrees. It is true in any system. The flux produced will always lag behind the voltage by an angle 90 degrees. And the EMF induced E1, the EMF induced E1, which is self-induced EMF, is always lagging behind the flux produced by an angle 90 degrees. This is as per the equation in EMF equation. In EMF equation we have seen the induced EMF E1 is equals to EM sine of omega t minus 90. When I took phi equal to phi m sine omega t, the induced EMF came out to be E1 equals to EM1 sine of omega t minus 90. So the induced EMF, electromagnetically induced EMF, will be always lagging behind the flux by an angle 90 degrees. It is by nature. So this E1 is lagging behind flux phi by an angle 90 degrees. The same flux phi is existing in the core and linking secondary winding. Now I will get E2. Now E2 is also lagging behind flux by an angle 90 degrees. So E1 and E2 will be lagging behind the flux by an angle 90 degrees. So this is the no load vector diagram of the transformer. Full load vector diagram is not there for your syllabus. So I will not go through that. It is a bit complex. Okay, and it is not mentioned in your syllabus also. Okay. So this is the no load vector diagram of the transformer. So what I want to understand from the no load operation of transformer is, even when there is no load connected on the secondary side, now the power transfer from primary to secondary is not possible because there is no current in the secondary side. V1 I1 should be equal to V2 I2. Now my I2 is 0, therefore secondary power is 0. It means that power is not transferred to secondary. But still primary is drawing some power. What for it is drawing? To satisfy the losses. So there are losses present in the transformer. Okay. Now what actually loss is? In one statement, if I say what the loss is, it is the heat dissipated by the system. Loss is always heat. Please remember, loss is always heat. Okay. So when current flows through copper, because of resistance present in the copper, the charge carriers which are flowing in a particular direction in a copper will experience a lot of opposition, collision with other atoms present or particles present. Therefore, there is a friction between the charged particles and the neighboring particles, and that friction, when you have a physical friction between anything, it will create heat. Okay. Now, when the charged electron will brush with or have the friction with the nearby particle, whatever the energy it has gained, it will lose there only. Okay. If I stop providing the supply voltage, then the electron which has gained the energy, it is lost in the first friction itself. Now I want the work to be done by the electric circuit. I want the work to be done by the electric circuit. So when a work has to be done by the electric circuit, current has to flow in that circuit. So I have to maintain a constant current flow in the electric circuit. It means that whatever the energy is lost by the electron in the friction, that amount of energy, minimum of that amount of energy has to be supplied by the battery or the voltage source. Okay. Whatever the energy that is used to do the work. Now suppose the fan is running here. The main work of current is to run the fan. But in the course of making the fan run, the current has to flow from the switchboard to the winding. So from switchboard to winding there is some length of wire. From switchboard to winding there is some length of wire. and in the winding there is large length of wire, and all this is having resistance. So when current has to flow through the wire length here and the wire length in the winding, definitely it will be experiencing a continuous friction with the neighboring particles. Now current is nothing but charged electrons, flow of electrons. So when electron flow, it will experience a brushing, collision, friction with the neighboring particles, and it will lose the energy. Now see, if I simply press the button once and leave, the current will flow to some of some value and it will stop, because the electron will lose all the energy. Now if the friction is zero, if the resistance of the material is zero, that becomes a superconductor. So in superconductor, what is the concept? Only to start the conduction I need initial energy or initial power. Once the conduction starts, even if I retrieve the power from the source, the conduction resumes. But it is not the case with normal conductors. So continuous supply of power has to be given, so that whatever the friction is existing, okay, whatever the energy is lost by the charged particles when they flow, that part of energy is continuously supplied. Now only that part of energy is continuously supplied. Suppose power drawn by this fan is 70 watts. Losses in the fan is around 10 watts. Okay. So if I provide only 10 watts of power from the source, fan will not run, because the charged particles will get that energy of 10 watts or power of 10 watts. They simply get satisfied with their friction. Remaining work done will not be possible by the fan. Okay. Now there are 10 watts of loss, 70 watts of output. So what is the minimum input I should give? 80 watts. When I give 80 watts from the supply, then out of 80 watts, 10 watts will be lost, 70 watts is available at the output. Now if I provide 70 watts, 10 watts is lost, 60 watts is available. If I provide 60 watts, 10 watts is lost, 50 watts is available. So what does it mean? The minimum loss requirement of the system is always drawn from the supply first. So first, any system will take the loss component of the power into it, then it will provide the output. Many a times it is misconceptually understood that losses occur after the output. No, output occur after the loss. First input comes, then a loss comes, then output comes. It is not that losses are the left out part of the output from input. No, output is the left out part of after the loss from the input. So any system, first it will take the loss component into it, it will satisfy its losses first, then that system will be ready to give the output. Now unless and until I give 10 watts to this fan, it won't give output. Now suppose if I give exactly 10 watts, the output is 0. Suppose if I give fan 5 watts, we don't get any output again. So the minimum amount of power to be given to this fan, for example, is 10 watts. What is that? It is loss. Now if I give 20 watts, 10 watts it will take loss, 10 watts it will give output. The fan will run at extremely slow. The output is less. Now if I want more output, I need to give more power. Is it? So this is the concept of loss and output. Okay. So loss is that part of input which is always consumed by the system. It will keep first its share. It is the share of the system. Okay, it is the share of the system. So how much share it will take from the input in the form of loss is decided at the time of design of the system. I can't decide it after the system is put into operation. It is decided at the time of design. Only at the time of design I can decide. Okay. At the time of design, if I keep the share of the loss minimum, I get maximum output. At the time of design, if I don't consider the loss at all, I will simply design without considering loss, then losses may increase, output may decrease. because any design I do, I design for total power. I never design for only output power. Okay? Any design of equipment I do, I design it for total power. I will never do it for output power. Output power is the real power or active power. Okay? But we know that the system, AC system is always having three powers: active, reactive and total. If I design only for active power, then who has to supply for reactive power? Reactive power will also be drawn from the source itself, is it? Then I have to design for the total power. Okay? So only it is said the total output and the total input is always equal. Law of conservation of energy. First law of thermodynamics. What it says? The energy neither can be created nor can be destroyed, but can be only transferred from one form to other form. So I am not creating any energy at the source, nor I am destroying any energy at the sink or the load. The total energy what I am giving at the source is equal to the total energy that I am getting at the load. But the total energy what I am giving at the source will get divided into different forms of energy in the system, and I get at the output. So for example, in the case of fan, the energy given is electrical energy. The energy available is mechanical energy. Okay? So the total electrical energy given to the fan is part of that is getting converted to heat energy, that is loss. Major part of that is getting converted to mechanical energy, that is rotation or kinetic energy. So if you add the heat loss energy plus mechanical output energy is exactly equal to the electrical input energy. If this is not true, no system will work. Any system will work on this basis only. Okay? So this is the concept of the supply, loss and output. Okay? So what I intend to tell in this lecture was, there will be some amount of power always drawn by the system even when the system is not working, if the system is connected to the supply. Now the system is not working because the output is 0. I am not transferring any power from primary to secondary, but still primary is connected to supply, hence small amount of work is done by the transformer. What is that work done? To satisfy the losses those are present in the core and to create a magnetization in the core. So this is the work done now. Okay? So total work done by the transformer is now, it is creating the magnetization, it is creating or it is satisfying some losses those are present in the core. Now what are the core losses present in the core and why they present, that we need to see. What are the losses in that winding? It is evident, I square R. I know that because electrons are flowing in a path, it is experiencing the friction. In that friction it is losing some energy in the form of heat, that is my loss. Okay? So that loss is the conduction loss. It is present any time when the current is carried by any conductor, that is called conduction loss. But why there should be loss in the core? What is that phenomena? Why the loss has to be existing in the core? And the core is not conducting anything. It is simply keeping the flux into it. Now by the existence of the flux in the core, how the losses are existing in the core and how those losses are decreasing the output, that is the study which are known as losses in the transformer. Okay? So next part is nothing but the losses in the transformer. Okay? So this is the transformer at no load. So please remember, even when the transformer is at no load, when the primary is connected to the supply, okay, so primary will draw some amount of current. It is very small amount of current when compared to the total load current. Like I told, in our lab, in our own lab, in our college, there are 2 kVA transformers, many 2 kVA transformers of 230 bar 230 volt capacity. So the current rating will be 2 kVA divided by 230 volts, which will come out to be 8.6 amperes. So when I connect the full load on the secondary side, the current drawn by primary will be 8.6 amperes. The current flowing in the secondary will also be 8.6 amperes because voltages are same. Okay. Now when there is no load connected in the secondary, current in the secondary is obviously zero because this is open circuit. But current drawn by the primary is very small. It is 0.5, 0.6 or 0.7 amperes. Not even 0.7, it is 0.5 or 0.6. Every time when we have seen the reading at no load, it has come between 0.5 to 0.6 amperes. So the no load current drawn by the transformer is very less when compared to the full load current rating of the transformer. Okay, full load current rating is always given by volt ampere rating divided by voltage value. That is full load current. Okay, so this is the no load current, and this no load current will be lagging behind this voltage by an angle phi naught. This is called no load power factor angle. So phi naught is no load power factor angle, and cos phi naught is no load power factor of transformer. No load power factor of transformer. Cos phi naught is no load power factor of transformer. So IW is the active component of no load current. IM is the reactive component of no load current. Active component always cause power loss. Reactive component always cause magnetization. This you nail in your mind. Okay? Active component always cause power loss. Reactive components always cause magnetization. Okay? So any reactive component, however large it is, however small it is creating magnetization. Any active component, I cos phi, okay? Any active component is always creating power loss, okay? Or work done. Power loss or work done. Okay, now I am dealing with the loss, it is power loss component. Hence, IW is known as core loss component. Okay, IM is known as magnetizing component because it is magnetizing the core by creating the magnetization or the flux. It is creating losses or satisfying the losses. It is called as loss component of the current. Okay, so in transformer, losses in transformer, there are two types of losses. Before that, so what is I naught here? Under root IM square plus IW square. IM square plus IW square, where IM is or IW is I naught cos phi naught and IM is I naught sin phi naught. Okay. So next is losses in transformer. So losses in transformer, in any electrical machine there will be two types of losses. Okay, very general categorization of the losses is two types of losses. Constant losses and variable losses. Constant losses and variable losses. So what do you mean by constant losses is the losses, those are constantly present in the machine when the machine is connected to the supply voltage. Okay, when the machine is connected to the supply voltage, those losses which are present throughout the operation of this machine without change in their value is called constant losses. Variable losses, as the name suggests, variable losses depends upon various conditions of operating of the machine throughout the operation of the machine, and mainly it will depend upon the load. Okay, constant losses will not depend upon the load condition. Okay, so like I told in the transformer no load operation, the moment I connect primary winding of the transformer to the supply, losses start occurring in the core. Losses start occurring in the core. So whether there is load on the secondary side or there is no load on the secondary side, core losses occur. Why core losses occur? They occur because of the flux present in the core. If there is flux present in the core, core losses occur. And when the flux is present in the core, the moment primary winding is connected to supply, the flux is created in the core. It means that the moment primary winding is connected to supply, the core losses of the transformer are present. So those losses are constant losses of the transformer. So constant losses are here core loss, or the same core loss is known as iron loss, because core is made up of iron, soft iron, so it is called iron loss, or this is also known as magnetic loss. These are also known as magnetic loss. Okay? Why? Because these losses are occurring because of magnetization. When we exactly see what are those core losses, you will get to know further clear. Okay? Now, what are variable losses? Variable losses depend upon various conditions of operating in the machine. So what is the variation that will occur in the machine is nothing but the load. Now, say for example, how the load varies. The load on the transformer varies infinitely. The load on the transformer varies infinitely. So when I say this statement, many a time students will misunderstand that the magnitude of load is infinite. I am not talking about the magnitude of the load. I am talking about the variation of the load. Okay? The magnitude of the load is always equals to the maximum value of the load that a machine can withstand. Never an electrical machine is loaded beyond its withstanding capability or maximum load condition. Full load condition is one, maximum load condition is other. Generally, maximum load condition is taken around 10 to 15 to 20% above the full load condition. Okay. So now, the load on the transformer, how it will vary, I will tell. All the appliances what we see, whether in our house, in our classroom, in our lab, are connected to the secondary side of the previous distribution transformer. Okay? All the appliances what we are using, whether it is fan, whether it is lamp, whether it is experiment models in our lab, whether it is fans or tubes in our class, whether it is mixer grinder in our kitchen, television, tape recorder, mobile charger, everything is nothing but the load on the secondary side of the transformer. Okay, that is my load. And primary is connected, it is 11 kV bar 450 volts. Okay, 3 phase, I will convert it to single phase. Now, is there any exact pattern of turning on or turning off of the load in your house by you? No. Now if I wish to come to this room and sit for 10 minutes, because it is summer, I will turn on fan. And I don't know when I will come to this room and sit for 10 minutes. There is no schedule that I will come and sit for 10 minutes in this room or in my classroom. Okay, in classroom, okay, it is very much predictable. 8:30 to 9:30, 9:30 to 10:30. After 10:30 to 10:50, there is gap. Assume that 10:30 to 10:50 nobody exists, so everything will be turned off, which you don't do that is a different issue. But when everybody will come out, it will be turned off. Okay, but in between the classroom times from 8:30 to 4:30, is there any exact pattern that from 8:30 to 8:50 there is only one fan running, exactly at 8:50 second fan should run, at 9:10 third fan should run? Nothing as such. So the variation, this variation in the load, I am calling it as infinite variation, unpredictable variation. I cannot predict. Okay. So when the load changes, this secondary current in the transformer changes. Even if I turn on this one lamp, the transformer that is feeding this room or this house or this lane will change its secondary current. And like me, how many people are there in the entire connected load which are randomly changing the load? Don't know. So that is called infinite variation in the load, not with respect to the magnitude of the load, with respect to variation I am talking, unpredictable variation. Okay, so I never say this load will be minimum by this time. It may suddenly increase after 10 minutes. Okay, it may suddenly decrease after half an hour, or it may vary between maximum and minimum value continuously without exact time span. For all these variations, the secondary current of the transformer vary, and that causes some losses. Which are those losses? The losses those are occurring due to the conduction of the current is nothing but conduction losses. Okay, that is I square R loss. Or these are also known as copper loss. Copper loss. Even though I use aluminum as conductor, it is known as copper loss only. It is by name. Okay, so don't think that if I use aluminum, it is aluminum loss. If I use silver, it is silver loss. No. Conduction losses generally we call it as copper losses. It is by name, like that only. Okay, so I square R loss is nothing but my copper loss. Okay, these are nothing but my conduction loss. Okay, conduction losses are always variable losses, because if the load changes, current changes. Current changes, conduction is changing, therefore losses are changing. So in case of transformer, there are two types of losses, which are variable losses and constant losses. Constant losses will remain constant throughout the operation of transformer, whether it is at no load, minimum load, moderate load, maximum load, full load, or overload. Okay, variable losses are continuously changing or continuously varying as the load changes, because as the load changes, current changes. As the load changes, current changes, conduction loss changes. Okay, so this is called iron loss, variable loss, which are copper loss. Okay, so we will see what is copper loss. Copper loss. Okay, so I have this is my transformer. Okay, so let R1 is the resistance of primary winding and R2 be the resistance of secondary winding. Let R1 resistance of primary winding and R2 be the resistance of secondary winding. Then what are primary copper losses? Primary copper loss is equals to I1 square R1. Current in primary is I1, resistance of primary is R1. So I1 square R1. Secondary copper loss, this is watts. Secondary copper loss, it is I2 square R2 watts. I2 square R2 watts. Now what are total copper loss in the transformer? Primary copper loss plus secondary copper loss. Because except primary winding and secondary winding, there is no copper in any of the part of the transformer. It is only the primary winding and secondary winding which are carrying currents. So where there is carrying of current, that is creating the loss, variable loss. Now don't think that if the load in the secondary changes, primary current will remain constant. No. If the load in the secondary increases, current in secondary increases, current in primary should also increase. Because secondary circuit is getting power from where? Primary circuit. So if the secondary circuit power requirement raises, primary circuit power drawn will also rise. So as I2 increases, I1 will also increase. Okay, I0 will not remain the current now. It will be I0 plus the current that is drawn by the secondary. Okay, suppose I0 is 0.5 amperes. Now current drawn by the secondary is say 5 amperes. Current drawn by the primary roughly is 5.5 amperes. Roughly, not exactly, because 0.5 plus 5 is not algebraic addition, it is vector addition. That part is not there, you don't worry about that. So as the power drawn or power requirement in the load side increases, power drawn at the supply side will increase. So as I2 increases, I1 will also increase. Okay. Therefore, total copper loss in transformer, okay, is WCU is equals to I1 square R1 plus I2 square R2. I1 square R1 plus I2 square R2. Okay. So this is the total copper loss in the transformer. As I2 changes, I1 will also change, therefore copper loss will change. Hence these are known as variable losses. Constant losses are iron losses. Okay. So that part we will see in the next class, because I have to explain a bit more in that. Those are little bit, there are two types of iron losses, eddy current loss and hysteresis loss. So first I should explain what is hysteresis phenomena and how eddy currents are circulated in the core. Then I should be explaining about the losses in that. Okay. So today we will finish with this content of the lecture, that today we have seen the transformer on no load and the concept of losses. Okay, concept of loss we have seen, transformer on no load we have seen, why on even no load the transformer draws some amount of current we have seen. Okay, concept of losses we have seen, concept of output we have seen. Okay, and we have seen the variable losses. So in the next class we will see the constant losses. Okay, and then we will go to the efficiency of the transformer. Okay, so we will end now. I hope you have registered your names and USNs in the chat box. Okay. Thank you for joining the class. Okay, we will end.